And welcome back, and it is the 23rd of May, higher plus 5 a day, and let's just go straight to the first one. Right, so we have well, it's just a straightforward indices question, isn't it? So it's about recognising that there's a 2 here, which means squared, and a 3 here, which means cube root. And also recognising that I need to do that to both the 27, so it's 27 to the power of 2 over 3, and to the x. But actually that one's slightly different, which is why this is quite a good question, because I'm doing two different things, all being applying the same index power. So for this one here, I need to do the cube root of 27 because it's the power of a third, and then I need to square my answer. And for this one here, I'm using the index rule that a to the power of b to the power of c is basically a times bc. In other words, I'm going to multiply 6 by 2/3, which is 12 over 3, which is x to the 4. Let's tidy up the thing on the left. So the cube root of 27 is 3, 3 squared is 9, so my final answer is going to be 9x to the power of 4. Good question, sort of very standard index rule question. Next one. AOC is an equilateral triangle. That seems very relevant, doesn't it? Because that means straight away that I know that angle there is 60. Of side length 14. So it also means I know that's 14, I know that's 14, and I know this, if I need it, is 14 as well. And then it says OBD is a sector of the circle, okay? And it has radius 11. Oh, actually, so it's slightly different to how I've put it. So it's still 14, but notably that's 11 and that's 3. So I'm going to leave that one there and 14 on the other side. Calculate the area of the shaded region as a percentage of the area of the triangle AOC. Give your answer to 3 sig fig. Okay, so my approach here, this is a classic sort of problem question, is I'm going to start by doing the whole triangle. So the whole triangle AOC is a triangle where I'm going to use a half times the sides multiplied together, so 14 times 14, and then times that by the sine of the angle in between, which is 60. So in other words, I've used the 14 that's here to work out the area of the triangle. And I'm going to use my calculator because I need a percentage. So I'm going to get a calculator out, and that gives me, well, my calculator says 49 root 3. I tell you what, I'm actually going to even leave that. So I'm going to leave that as 49 root 3. Then what am I doing? So I calculate the area of the shaded region. So the shaded region is going to be the triangle minus the sector. So in other words, the shaded is going to be the whole triangle, which is 49 root 3 that I've just worked out, minus the sector. Now the sector is 60 degrees. So in other words, it's 63/160ths of the area of a circle with radius 11. And so that's going to give me, and this time I don't get a nice round number, I get 21.515. So again, what I've done there is I've taken the whole triangle and I've taken away the sector by using the fraction of the sector. And then it wants the percentage. So in other words, I'm going to do the number 1 divided by number 2. So 21.5, it's actually already on my calculator, divided by 49 root 3. And that gives me 25.3504, etc., which I'm just going to call 25.4%. I'd say degrees, but 25.4%. Good question. Sort of very nice, problem-y, but not too difficult type of question. Next question. Find the coordinates where the line this and the graph of this intersect. So quick graph. So you should be pretty okay with sketching these things. So that's 6 over x, which is just like 1 over x. And the line x plus 1 is a straight line that does this. I'm expecting something around there and something around there. In other words, I'm going to say that x plus 1 is equal to 6 over x. Now at this stage, this is interesting because actually I think this is a bit more A-level rather than GCSE, because the next step doesn't feel like something you should necessarily feel comfortable doing, but actually it's okay. I'm going to multiply everything by x. That's going to be x squared plus x equals 6. Take away the 6 from both sides, and that gives me equals 0. I can factorise this. I can factorise this down to x plus 3, x minus 2 equals 0, which means that x is equal to 2, or x is equal to minus 3. What does it want? It says find the coordinates. So from here, I know that y equals x plus 1, so x equals 2 goes to y equals 3, and x equals minus 3 goes to y equals minus 2. I'm just adding 1. So the coordinates, to answer the question neatly, are going to be 2, 3, and minus 3, minus 2. And that's it. Question done. Good question, that. Next and final question today. Given that f of x equals this thing here, find a if the output is 2.5. Right, so let's just write that out and solve it. So I'm going to write it slightly different. I'm going to write 3x minus 4. It's not 2.5, but I'm going to write 5 over 2, because I think that might help me a little bit. And then square both sides, so 3x minus 4 is equal to 25 over 4. Then I'm going to multiply everything by 4, so that's going to be 12x minus 16 equals 25. And I add 16 to both sides, so 12x is equal to, well, 25 plus 16 is 41. Divide by 12, so therefore x equals 41 over 12. And that wasn't too bad at all, was it? And that is it. Today's question's done. A good mix of questions today. I like the little problem question in the middle. Do let me know how they went for you. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow.